Man, we have a lot to get to today here on the Viking Update Show. He's John Krawczynski from The Athletic and TalkNorth.com. I'm Jim Souhan from Star Tribune and TalkNorth.com. The Viking Update Show is presented to you by OnX Hunt, and we're coming to you from the Aquarius Home Services studio.
It's Scott for Aquarius Home Services. Yep, Jack Frost is back, and he's not just nipping at your nose. He's eyeing your furnace and those leaky faucets, too. Don't let him crash your holidays. Call Aquarius and get $98 off any plumbing or furnace repair. Enjoy your holidays and let Aquarius take care of your home service needs. Schedule today at AquariusHomeservices.com. Aquarius, earning the right to be recommended.
Hey, this is Randy Shaver. Along with Kevin Gorg, we host the show Fantasy Huddle on Talk North. Each week, we're going to break down the matchups for the NFL season and try to give you the best chance to win your fantasy football games each and every week. Join us for Fantasy Huddle on Talk North.
All right, John, so much to get in here today. Let us start with coaching. Usually, I don't pick on play calling because I know, coaches spend like 800 hours during the week figuring out the probabilities and the matchups, and they have good reasons for doing almost everything they do. And I hate the old idea of, okay, you ran the ball and it didn't work, therefore you should have thrown it. It's just not that simple. And we know Kevin O'Connell's a very good coach, very good offensive coach. But I thought yesterday was one of his worst games of his tenure. He has a young quarterback who's still trying to figure it out, going up against a veteran defense that's playing really well, a veteran defensive coordinator, a winning franchise that's kind of gotten itself right lately. 60 offensive plays, 13 handoffs that gain almost 6 yards a rush. And he had J.J. McCarthy throw 42 times, and J.J. McCarthy ran the ball 5 times, including once on a, like a 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11, where you throw back across the field and ask him to go break 5 tackles, a guy who's had injury problems. Then you add in the false starts. That was not a good day for Kevin O'Connell, I didn't think.
No, it wasn't, Jim. The 3rd and 1 where you're throwing deep, and I understand, hey, you got a 4th down, but this is a team that has struggled on 3rd and 4th and short all season long. So can you take that for granted? Even towards the end where, I understand the analytics say you're down 8, you go for 2, and do that every time. But with this team in these games, I just don't, I don't know that was the right move. But I think that the 2 things that clearly are the most indictable right now are the reluctance to run, especially when Aaron Jones clearly has some juice. He's looked great the last couple of weeks, and the reluctance to run. And then the penalties are a reflection of coaching, discipline, focus, attention to detail, execution. All of those things are really glaring when you're at home. The environment isn't loud and disruptive to you, and you have 8 pre-snap penalties. That just speaks to a team that was not on the same page, was not locked in, whatever descriptor you want to use. And that is something that, penalties and the running game situation have been there a lot of this season. And this was probably the worst cases for both of those situations. And that's why they lost rather convincingly to a team that did not play all that well. And that's concerning.
Yes. Welcome back to this show, to the Minnesota State Lottery. We'll tell you more about them and our other sponsors later on. My new habit watching NFL games live is to listen to the broadcast as the game is going on, because I just want to know, sometimes they get something out of their Saturday interviews at the facility that might be useful. Sometimes they know something we might not know. Sometimes they're, as former players, they might have an insight that's worthwhile. Mm-hmm. But usually what I hear is they have a narrative that was set in their mind by the time they spent with the team on Saturday, and they're going to go with it, even if it has no reflection, no correlation to what's happening on the field. And we said it yesterday. They spent all their time talking about how everybody around the league talks about Kevin O'Connell's attention to detail. And Kevin O'Connell, he prides himself, attention to detail. And it's like, Kevin O'Connell, attention to detail, false start. Kevin O'Connell, attention to detail, false start. It was like, it was like it was staged. It was like a Monty Python skit or something like that. Every time they talked about how great Kevin O'Connell is and his attention to detail, they would have a false start or an unforced penalty. It just cracked me up because you can't trust NFL announcers. You just can't. But that was bad. Man, that was bad because they got off to a really good start yesterday. We know McCarthy has guts. We know he can play well in the clutch. Jalen Naylor has a career day. They're running the ball great. And they find a way to just do nothing in the second or third quarters and to fall behind to a point where they have to play desperation football. That was a big loss. It's very possible that if they had played really well and they hadn't had the false starts, the Ravens still find a way to win. Lamar Jackson's great. It's a good franchise. But to see them lose because they couldn't function is frustrating, is the nicest word I can come up with.
Yeah. And I think when this season started, we were talking about how great a position JJ McCarthy is in as a young quarterback because he has Kevin O'Connell, because he has these weapons around him, because there is such an infrastructure built for him to take some of the pressure off of his shoulders. And so to have a scenario where you are actually putting more pressure on his shoulders, play in and play out, because it's 1st and 15 and not 1st and 10, that is like the antithesis of what you want for a young quarterback. You want him in manageable down and distance all the way through. You want him to be able to, you want to run the ball more. So he doesn't have to feel like every time he's dropping back, he has to make a play down the field. And so these things are running counter to what the best plan of attack is for a very young, very inexperienced quarterback. And so they're doing a disservice to JJ McCarthy with some of this stuff. Like, I just don't know how you average over 6 yards a carry and then you see how erratic JJ is, made some really good throws and some really good plays, but also missed some wide open plays. You know, that's what's going to happen. That's par for the course with the young quarterback. You are going to go through these ups and downs. And so the key to minimizing the damage is, I'm going to make sure my team is really well prepared and disciplined and doesn't beat itself with penalties. I'm also going to run the ball to make sure that the defense cannot just key in on the pass game and has to respect the run. And so then you're a little bit harder to game plan for. Like, these are obvious things that should be more of a point of emphasis, or, they just have to be better, or else you're just going to make it so much harder on JJ McCarthy than it needs to be. And that is the frustrating part about this.
Yes. And the double lateral, whatever the heck that play was, if you want to try that like in first down and you've given McCarthy the option to run or pass, and you're just looking for kind of a free, cheap, big play, maybe that's okay. But what I didn't like about it is you're throwing it back to McCarthy and telling him, you got to go get the first down. This is a guy who's had lots of injuries. He was only playing his 4th NFL game because of 2 major injuries. And you're basically telling him he's got to go break 4 tackles to get a first down. I hate that. I hate that call.
Yeah. And I mean, like, as the play developed, you saw how ideally it would work. They had McCarthy caught it, and he had 2 blockers in front of him and essentially one defender. If they kicked him out the right way, McCarthy probably gets the first down, but they didn't. He kind of blew up the play. But to your point, you're putting him in a position where he's got to put his body on the line to make a first down. And McCarthy is going to do that. You know that. He's not going to run out of bounds. He's not going to slide and take the safe play. Like, he's a super competitive kid. Like, and he's going to want to make that play. But, for me, like, the thing that said to me was like, we've got to trick these guys to make something happen. And I don't know, man. It's just like, can you just run the ball and then make quick throws and make it easy, on your quarterback? And that's a high degree of difficulty play. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying that you have to put kid gloves on with JJ McCarthy. I'm not saying that you have to baby him, but I think that you're trying to put him in scenarios where the degree of difficulty to execute is lower because he's just got so much going through his head. He's learning on the job. He's doing all these things. And so when you add that into it, it's just like, do you have to, it must have been in the game plan during the week. They must have practiced it. How about 3-step drop and get rid of it and move it? How about get Justin Jefferson involved early in quick game and just keep the chains moving and like give the ball to Aaron Jones, give the ball to Jordan Mason. And then as he gets more comfortable, say, all right, go get him, young man, and open things up a little bit. But it felt more desperate. It felt more like a peacocking moment of like, watch this. And I just don't think that that's the right approach right now with JJ McCarthy in his 4th career start, with the injuries that he's dealt with all the things that the offense is going through.
Running the ball has so many benefits. Some of them are obvious. Some of them are a little hidden. Mm-hmm. But you saw with the Ravens yesterday, Henry wouldn't do much early. He stuck with it. All of a sudden, Henry and Mitchell are popping long runs, and mm-hmm. you're wearing down a Vikings defense. All of a sudden, the pass rush isn't as strong because you're wearing these people down. You're controlling the ball. You're putting pressure on the opposing offense to be efficient because they're not going to get the ball as often. And there is just something innate about the physical nature of football. And when you can run the ball on somebody else, it's depressing for that entire franchise when you get the
mm-hmm.
ball run on you. Then you look around the league. The Dolphins, won their game by running, and then they popped a long run to seal at the end. The Patriots ran it, popped a long run at the end. And again, Henry was more effective in the second half. Mitchell was more effective in the second half because they kept on running the ball, and that opened things up for Lamar Jackson, who doesn't need that much help. It should have been like 27 passes and 33 running plays. Instead, it was 47 pass plays and 13 running plays. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and the one thing I will give O'Connell here is that with all of those pre-snap penalties, it is harder to run on 1st and 15. So I will grant him that part of it, but I still think that there were ways to stay more committed. And like, we can just, the 3rd and 1 where they throw it deep, and he did say after the game, like, yeah, I was going to go for it on 4th down if it wasn't an interception, of course. But like, the way that this team is going and with the way the game was there, just get the 1st down, like reset and go. And if it's 4th and 1, now everyone's keying up, and now there's even more pressure on McCarthy because you maybe do a play action pass again, and you got whatever. It's just like with the stage of development that JJ McCarthy is at. First down. Just move the chains, keep him going, make it easier. And so dialing up deep passes and throwbacks and all of these things is just giving him, I think, more than he can chew right now. And we have seen what happens when it's right and when it's manageable, and they ran the ball well against Detroit, and that helped set up everything else. And it just like, I think Kevin O'Connell fights that so far in his very good coaching tenure with the Vikings. The one thing that has stood out on a negative side for me is that he views the run as a necessary evil. And he wants to throw the thing all over the place. And there are going to be times where that is called for. And there is maybe eventually JJ McCarthy is going to develop into the quarterback where, yeah, I trust him. Just drop back and sling it 50 times and he's going to win those games. he is not there right now. Like that's not feasible.
Also,
and
there are great quarterbacks who are never asked to throw the ball that much.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so, it's just like, it's maddening at times to watch it. And it's like, especially right now, Aaron Jones clearly came back from that injury and he's got juice. Like whatever happened, however, he's feeling great. He is dynamic. Like, man, you just got to use that more often. Like he is so effective right now, and it's a disservice to everyone to ignore that.
Let's talk about Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson next. First, though, have you ever driven past a piece of land and wondered who owns that, or maybe you need to know exactly where a property line runs? That's where onX Hunt comes in, and it's not just for hunters. There are folks using onX for their jobs every day throughout the country, from farmers and ranchers mapping out their fields, wildland firefighters navigating rough terrain, to construction workers needing to know who owns what property. This app offers something for everyone. If you need the best land ownership maps, aerial imagery, and property boundaries in your pocket, onX Hunt is the tool for the job. Try it free for 7 days. Download onX Hunt in the app or Google Play Store, or visit onxmaps.com/hunt to get started. We also want to thank Twill in the Edina Galleria, twillmn.com. Go there, sign up for their alerts. You only get a couple of emails a year, but when you get the email, it'll be about a special event or a sale that's dramatic. I got a lot of stuff when they had a 40% off sale this summer when they were clearing out their summer inventory for fall inventory. It's not a huge store. It's easy to shop. That also means that when it's time for them to clear stuff out, they're going to give you a great deal. Go there, say hello to Scott Dayton, my friend. It's Twill by Scott Dayton in the Edina Galleria, best men's clothing store in Minnesota. Go check it out. All right. What did you make? And you and I haven't talked about this, so I'm going to be really interested in if we differ at all. What did you think about Justin Jefferson's experience on Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, I wrote about it at The Athletic. Here's the way that I see Justin Jefferson. The brilliance with which he has started his career and the consistency with which he has started his career sets the bar at a very high level. The standard of expectation is incredibly high for Justin Jefferson because he's earned that. I thought that the game against the Ravens was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play. And the reason that say that is I think there are myriad reasons why he may be frustrated, why it may not be, McCarthy's erratic throws, all of the penalties, there's a lot of things outside of his control right now that would lead me to understand why he is, frustrated with how things are going. And he did not say that. I'm just kind of trying to read into it. But to me, the greatness of Justin Jefferson has been in his ability to be super, to have an endless reservoir of energy and of intensity, relentlessness. Like he just keeps coming at you. He keeps coming at you. And I didn't think he did that on Sunday. I mean, the 2 interceptions, he got up and he walked after the guy who is returning it. Some of the routes that you watched, especially as the game went on, I just didn't think that they were at full speed. The one play at the goal line where McCarthy put a great ball right on him and the defensive back made a very good play. It would have been a remarkable catch, but we have seen Justin Jefferson make remarkable catches his whole life, and he didn't make that catch. And so this is another one of, to who much is given, much is required. And there were many more reasons they lost than Justin Jefferson's off game. But when he has an off game, to me, it's really glaring. And when that off game comes because there seems to be just a lack of energy or lack of intensity, that's not Justin Jefferson. And so it just really stood out to me as they need more from him in that way, because one of the things getting back to with JJ McCarthy, you have Justin Jefferson. He's the best receiver in the league. And he never quits. And I'm not saying he quit, but like he just was not playing up to his level. And this offense cannot survive when Justin Jefferson is lacking the energy that he appeared to be lacking on Sunday.
Yeah. It's funny because there were a number of plays that I found worrisome, if that's the right word.
Yeah.
First of all,
I think that's a great word.
First of all, on 3rd and 1, when's the last time we saw Justin Jefferson go deep, get single coverage, and not beat his man?
Yeah.
Now, he ended up tripping. I'm not blaming him for tripping over the guy's leg, but usually he puts such a dramatic move on a guy like that he spins his hips and he breaks wide open. He didn't. One of the reasons he tripped is he didn't lose his man. On the play late, down and out to the right near the goal line, Jefferson ran into a defender. Again, I don't want to blame Justin Jefferson for getting his feet tangled with somebody, but we just don't see that happen. You know, there's a guy who navigates defenses, and he didn't navigate one guy who was in his way. Then on the when McCarthy threw into double coverage for the interception. Now Jefferson knew that he touched the defender, and the defender was down. It's still not a great look to walk toward your sideline when the guy is returning, and we don't know if the officials. You cannot trust NFL officials to get calls right. We don't 100%. Know 100% that they're going to get that call right. And Jefferson walks slowly to the sideline. That didn't look right. So if only one of those plays had happened in a game, I'd probably just give him a pass. But the fact that all those things happened in a game and he wasn't productive and he seemed to not be very happy, worrisome is the word I would come up with.
Yeah, I think so. And like, I'm certainly not jumping the gun here and being like, well, he's going to request a trade or something like that at all. But, I do think that should down the road, this like deteriorate and turn into one of those situations, we will look back at this game as the first canary in the coal mine, as wait a minute here, something is not right. Now, again, I think with the way that Justin Jefferson has conducted himself as a leader, as a part of this team, through all of the different quarterbacks, through his contract situation, through everything that he has kind of endured here in Minnesota, right now we can give him the benefit of the doubt and say, you know what, this was a bad game. And maybe when he looks at the film today, he's going to be like, I can't do that. That cannot be me. I'm coming back and I'm going to rededicate or whatever and get back to it. So I'm willing to give him one game like this and be like, something was missing. Maybe he was sick. Maybe something happened. Maybe he got some bad news on the way to the stadium. I don't know. Like maybe there was something else beyond what's going on the field that threw him off and that's why. But, it was so uncharacteristic and it was so glaring that it does make you at least wonder, is everything okay here? Like, I do think if I'm Kevin O'Connell, I'm checking in with him. I'm trying to like engage and like, hey, this was not you out there. What's going on? Kind of a thing, to try and get ahead of it, because it just, everything about it was completely anathema to who Justin Jefferson has been for his entire career. And so, it's just something that we have to acknowledge and monitor going forward here.
Well, they're on their way to not having enough. I mean, it is fascinating in this market. The Vikings, by far the most popular team, and they're about to go another year without a playoff victory. They haven't won a playoff game since 2019. Kevin O'Connell's never won a playoff game. And I don't mind giving them some grace and time to develop McCarthy, but if you're Justin Jefferson, you might not be looking at it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, JJ's put up ridiculous numbers for his entire career, and he hasn't had a good quarterback yet. Like, and he's now in year 6. Like, and I, again, like, I'm a McCarthy believer. I think he eventually can be it. But like, when you have a talent that is legitimately one of the top 5 players in the league when he's at his best, it is incumbent upon you to maximize that talent. And you can make the argument that, with Kirk Cousins, with JJ McCarthy, with Carson Wentz, with everyone that he has had to go with, he has put up these amazing numbers, and in spite of the quarterback play, more so than because of it. And so he has a gripe about what has happened here so far. But he also signed his contract extension. He has done everything to commit to what he can do here. And so there's got to be a little bit of patience for him, I guess, because he knew exactly what the plan was and how they were going to go forward with it. But it doesn't mean he has to like it. And the longer that it does happen, and it does linger like this, the more possibilities arise for him to finally be like, you know what, man, I've been here long enough. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. What's going to happen? Like that is possible. He has not done that so far. He's been the good soldier the whole way through. So I do think like that's what makes this even to me a little rise above just like, it's no big deal, move forward, is that we have not seen this from him before. And we see what's happening with the offense and with everything that's going on. And we see where this season seems to be going. And so that should be an number one priority for this team right now, is making sure that things do not go off the rails with him, because he's so important to what they do.
Well said. All right. We'll save the Hawkinson conversation for later in the show. Let's talk about the Bears. How this is suddenly a very big game, and the Bears, I don't know if they have it rolling, but they are winning games. Let's get into all that. First, we want to thank the Minnesota State Lottery.
She's Jen, the ultimate Vikings fan.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the Vikings Jan Show Fan Show. My special guest today is Jared Allen. So, Jared, who you got for the Vikings game this week?
Minnesota Vikings.
Me too. So that's our show. We'd like to thank our sponsor, the Minnesota Lottery, who reminds you this could be your year. Play the new
Vikings
Scratch Game for a shot at $100,000, game tickets, and more. Minnesota Lottery. I'm in. Must be 18 or older to play.
And here's TalkNorth.com star Michael Russo for Clamshell Beach Resorts.
Hey, have you been dreaming of a lake cabin lifestyle with boating, fishing, and family fun in northern Minnesota? Well, lately I've thought a lot about how cool it would be to have a getaway like so many Minnesotans. And if you're like me, you probably think that owning your own lakeside getaway is beyond your budget. Well, if you think lake cabin real estate prices keep going up, well, think again. This is Russo, and I'm here to tell you there is an affordable way to enjoy a cabin lifestyle and all that goes with it. And yes, I said affordable. I founded a Clamshell Beach Resort, which is located on the Whitefish chain of 14 lakes for you and your family to enjoy. Here's how. Clamshell has lake homes that offer deeded fractional ownership, and the keywords there are deeded and fractional. You own it. Imagine having 5 weeks a year to enjoy Clamshell with its beaches, pool, and lodge that's full of kids' activities. Is golf your game? There's a great golf course right across the road. Like winter sports? Well, you can go ice fishing, cross-country skiing, or snowmobiling right out the door at Clamshell. And there's no maintenance, no grass mowing, no snow removal. It's done all for you. And you can own a share of Clamshell Beach Resort at an affordable price. To learn more about ownership opportunities at Clamshell Beach Resort, go to cottagesonwhitefish.com or contact Pat Egan at 612-220-9819. That's cottagesonwhitefish.com or Pat Egan at 612-220-9819.
So the easy narrative, the national narrative, is because the Bears are 6-3, Caleb Williams is playing great, and Ben Johnson's a genius, and everything's working perfectly. I think if you actually watch the games, what you see is Caleb Williams is not playing brilliantly, but he has been clutch. I give him that. Mm-hmm. To me, the biggest difference in the Bears is, and this is where I think I really see the Ben Johnson influence, they're running the heck out of the ball.
Yes.
And they're sticking with the run. They're running it a lot, and they're running it well, and that has kept them in games. It's made the game simpler for Caleb, and when Caleb isn't having a great game, they're still in it in the fourth quarter, and all he has to do is go make one or two great plays with his legs or scrambles or whatever, and that's enough points to win the game. Yeah,
it looks remarkably like Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery. Like they have DeAndre Swift and the other guy, I can't pronounce his name. Yeah. But, Ben Johnson has come in and like he has taken weight off of Caleb Williams' shoulders. And I do believe that there's been some luck involved with some of these outcomes. There's been, plenty of things that they could easily have dropped 2 or 3 of these games and be in a different situation, but they haven't. They've found a way to win. And to Ben Johnson's credit, they are in these games. Then they are hanging around, and they're in them enough to be in a position to win them late, and that's happening. And good for them. And so it's going to be a fascinating matchup this week, because this is now you look at this stretch of games. It's Bears, Packers, Seahawks. Man, if the Vikings don't get this one at home, yikes! Yep. Look out. And so I do think that if the Vikings have any designs on trying to hang into the playoff conversation and doing all, they have to win this weekend at home against the Bears. They have to find a way. And, Ben Johnson has had some success against the Vikings defense, and so, how that all plays out is going to be just fascinating to see, and how the approaches with Williams and with McCarthy, veer and are different will be fascinating. But this is bordering on a must-win game if the Vikings have any hopes of just hanging around and being somewhat relevant going into December.
Yeah, I think they could win the game and still be in big trouble in terms of big picture. But if they lose, I just don't see it. Seattle's destroying people, and they are an incredibly good home team. And Darnold's going to be so fired up for that game. At Green Bay, the way the Vikings are playing right now, I would not expect it. Listen, give them credit. I didn't expect them to win in Detroit either. And they played great. Yeah. It's a weird league. They could bounce back and win 2 in a row. They could even win at Green Bay, because, that's to bring out all the old cliches. It is a rivalry game, and the history of Vikings-Packers games is shocking if you go back and look at what's happened in those games. But I really think they need to win on Sunday. I think they're capable of winning, but if they don't win, we're looking at this being this team that a lot of us thought should win 10 to 12 games, being a last-place team.
Yeah, and I think that it is important to reset the deck a little bit, in that if you beat Detroit on the road the way they did, they can win any of these games. Maybe Seattle might be, that one might be tough, but they are capable of doing it. And we have seen stretches of games where JJ McCarthy looks like a difference maker, makes good throws, gets on the run, breaks out of the pocket, extends plays, and does things you say, this is someone that you can build on. The difficulty is that you also know that with this young quarterback, he can throw an interception that he shouldn't have thrown. He can not take a sack when he was supposed to take a sack, or take a sack when he wasn't supposed to take a sack. He talked about that in the press conference last night, how he's still learning the game and time and situation. We're seeing that with Jordan Love as well. There's times where Jordan Love looks great, and then times when he doesn't. So none of this, it's just so volatile, is what I would say. This team feels very volatile, and that kind of goes with the NFL week to week kind of thing. But it's well within the realm of possibility that the Vikings win on Sunday, then they go to Green Bay and they win, and all of a sudden we're talking about a showdown with Sam Darnold and all that stuff. Or they could get waxed both games and everything fall apart. Who knows? But I don't think this is impossible. I actually think that it's a very winnable game. But I do think the bottom line is that yes, they do have to win it to kind of keep hope alive here going into mid-November and into December.
Let's do a pick. And before we do the pick, I will say that looking up the defensive stats, the Bears are allowing 135 yards rushing a game. That's bottom third in the league. Guess what? Let's bring this first circle. How about you run the ball on Sunday, Kevin?
I would just love it. I would love to see it. O'Connell's whole ethos is being challenged right now. And how he adapts to it, I think, is going to be crucial for this. It is so clear that running needs to be a bigger part of the equation, that they are capable of doing it, but that I don't think Kevin O'Connell wants to do it. And so what is going to give here? Is it going to be him sticking with saying, no, we've got to throw the football, modern NFL, this is the way to do it? Or is it going to be, you know what we do best is this. Let's run the ball. Let's set up the pass that way. And how he manages what he wants to do with what he needs to do is going to be just enormously important in this game and going forward.
It's an incredibly complex game, but there are simple truths. And I just remember Kubiak, Shermer, some of the more successful offensive coordinators in recent Vikings history. When they had a young quarterback or a struggling quarterback, you just see them giving him the easiest possible plays to execute. And guess what? A lot of those were run the ball, then go play action, little bootleg, throw it to your tight end. Just those building block plays. First of all, it sets up the defense to have to worry about those plays. Second of all, not the easiest throw you're ever going to have. And it's also a run pass option. If the tight end isn't open, if nobody's open, you can run the ball for 5 yards, or you can run it out of bounds without taking a hit, or you can just go down. There are some really simple building up block plays that allow you to get your quarterback in a rhythm, allow you to get free yardage, allow you to avoid getting hit. And guess what? It would also get Hockenson involved, which I think should be, you should take half of Justin Jefferson's targets on Sunday, and they should have gone to Hockenson.
Yeah, and so I think that the word that you hit on that is key is simple, because what I do wonder about all of the pre-snap penalties that we saw, no one was going to say it and no one would say it, but I just wonder if JJ is doing too much at the line of scrimmage right now. And everyone's thrown off by it. He is trying to kind of call out adjustments and do all those things. And maybe that's just not conducive for him right now at this stage of his development to be able to, because when you have 8 of them, it just looked like no one knew what was coming. And so if there is a way to lean some of that out as well, and just simplify some of that, I think that will go a long way. But you're right. And getting Hockenson involved would help a lot. The one thing that I wonder about TJ is with Jefferson, that this was an off game. That he just wasn't. Hockenson, I wonder how much he has right now. He's not a guy that I look down the field and see getting a lot of separation from anyone. And so, maybe there are things that they can do to scheme him up a little bit more and get him more involved, or maybe we're going the wrong way with him. And it's just not, it's not going to end well for him there.
That's very possible. Let's do our pick. I'll go first. I'm guessing that a lot of Vikings head coach on down learned something on Sunday. They're playing a must-win game at home against a team that I don't think is great, even though the record's pretty good. I think the Vikings find a way to win it on Sunday. Probably close. Let's say 23-20 Vikings. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm the same way. I'm trying not to be prisoner of the moment coming off of a loss. I did pick them to lose to the Ravens. And so I do think that the Bears have been good, but they've also been very lucky. And I think that there will be an enormous amount of energy and effort put in this week to shoring up the self-inflicted wounds. And so I expect a cleaner game on Sunday from them. And so I do think as well, 24-20, something like that, where they find a way to win, and they kind of look at the film from this one and are a little embarrassed about the sloppiness and all of the mistakes, and just come in really focused and find a way to win that game.
It'd be almost funny if they end up 3-0 in the division, 5-5 and 3-0 in the division, and then going to Green Bay. It's a bizarre league, but I will say that they have my interest. These next 3 games are going to be fascinating. Thanks to John. Check out the John Krawczynski Show at talknorth.com, both YouTube and audio. You can subscribe to your favorite podcast app. You can always find the shows and the archives at talknorth.com. We have Russo, Roy Smalley, Lavelle Neal, Don Mitchell, Mark Rosen, Randy Shaver, John Krawczynski. We have a lot of people. I can't ever remember all the shows we have. We have outdoor content. Check it all out. We do appreciate it, and we will talk to you next week.